G'day good people, we are 6 weeks into the Gofundme campaign and we are well over the third way mark, counting all the PayPal donations as well. This is a tremendous effort. As a reward for your donation, you will get your name drawn onto the boat and announced over YouTube. So who do we have new this week? To be permanently welded to the boat, we have Greg Mickelson, Eric Hall and William Buckley, who has now given twice. And Scott McMahon should already be up here, another mistake of mine. All of these guys will be going up onto the column of heroes. You heard right, the column of heroes. To be drawn up on the boat, we have George Trado, Darren Edelman, both of these guys are given again, top stuff guys, Suzanne Banks, Gerhard Snyman, Robert Stuth, Stephen Heinrichs. Thank you all for donating and supporting the Elcano World Challenge. If you want to be on the list or welded permanently onto the boat, the links to the GoFundMe campaign is in the description. G'day Sailing into Freedom fans. Last week Bart and I had a discussion with a sponsor about supplying us with a watermaker. Here's the interview. Our very special guest is Julian from Ocean Spring Watermakers. So Julian, how did this relationship start between you and Sailing into Freedom?
Oh, probably you have to thank the YouTube algorithm. So, I'm a sailing guy myself. I love watching YouTube videos about sailing channels and I'm very interested in building boats, and somehow I got into your channel, watched some episodes and recognized, the guy needs a watermaker. I love his project and I do watermakers, so I might get in touch with him.
So what are you offering at Ocean Spring Watermakers, Julian?
With Ocean Spring Watermakers, we're doing conventional modular watermakers, meaning running with a high pressure pump. But we also deal with energy efficient Clark pump watermakers. It depends, different sailors have different boats and different needs, and there is a right product for everyone, and we serve both needs.
So you said that you've been watching my channel and you probably know where I tend to hang out, which is not in marinas and not in places that are easy to get to. So in your opinion, what would be the best watermaker for me?
You're just like me. I also don't like to stay in the marinas. And in the sailing trip that I did, I had quite a lot of trouble with the watermaker that was on board the boat back then. It was already part of the boat that I bought secondhand. And it was a small unit without any gauges and all custom brand specific design. So it was very difficult to figure out what was wrong, if there was something wrong. And that made me believe, and I have the strong opinion that for a sailor that wants to go around the world and needs to be able to fix things themselves, help themselves, because you can't always hire somebody, a classic modular system is the way to go. They are very easy to understand, they're very rugged, and basically you can help yourself anywhere in the world, no matter where you are.
Okay, so you're recommending a conventional watermaker. I understand you actually in your business, you provide both types of watermakers, is that correct? So what's the other type?
The other type is like the Clark pump style watermakers. There's many brands out there like Spectra, Schenker, Osmosi, Ecosystems, and also Aquanautica, which is the brand we deal with. They all work on the same principle, and the idea is to save energy by recovering the wastewater as energy, which is a very clever solution. But it means all these systems are made from custom parts. So if something breaks down, you always need to spare from the specific manufacturer of your system, and there's no way around it. And also, if something breaks down, for the not so technically inclined people amongst the sailors, it will be very difficult to understand what will be the issue or what might be the issue. So it can be that it's kind of a guesswork for you if you take it apart and look at parts, or that you really need the trained technicians from the brand to do the work for you. And if you're on a long trip, that can have quite an influence on your travel planning and schedule, and I think that's not ideal.
You're actually recommending the more high power consumption watermaker to me, and I actually agree with that. Tell us what for the system you're providing, just give us a rundown. How many litres per hour? What's the current draw? You know, roughly how many amps per litre? Amp hours per litre, stuff like that.
Yeah. So basically the system you're getting will deliver around 150 liters per hour. I mean, it all depends a bit on the salinity of the water and the temperature you're in. That's normal for water makers, but in the normal conditions, which is referring to 25 degrees Celsius of water temperature, you can expect around 150 liters per hour. And that while drawing about 1,200 watts.
Right, 1,200, yep. Right.
Powered by 230 volt AC. So I recommend you going for the AC powered version because you have a strong inverter anyways, and a DC motor is just so much more expensive than an AC motor. So when you already have a good AC source like a strong inverter or a strong generator, there's not a real point to go for the DC engine.
Okay, so just judging by what you're estimating there, I mean, if it was just me and Margarita from many years ago, literally that 150 litres per hour, that would do us 40 days. So I'd have to pickle the machine and then reuse it. But with our current crew of going to be 5 or 6, I reckon I'm going to be running it. We're still going to be conservative. My ship and my philosophy hasn't changed. So I'm thinking we're going to run it probably once every 2 or 3 days. So how would I maintain that system, for example, with a 2-day or 3-day break? What should I do with this conventional water maker? How do I maintain it?
Basically, it's just in a normal operation. So you mentioned it right. A water maker needs to be run on a regular basis, ideally every few days or at least once a week. There is different recommendations amongst the brands. My clear recommendation is to flush the water maker after each use with fresh water. To get the salt water out, it really prolongs the life of your membranes and the pump, because even stainless steel will show some rust being exposed to the salt water all the time. So it's a good idea to flush it. And once flushed with fresh water, in the typical warm climates, you can keep the water maker like that for about a week without using it. So if you plan on using it every 2-3 days, you're just perfectly fine. Just use it as I recommended and nothing else to do.
Julian has a special offer for Sailing into Freedom fans on his range of Ocean Spring modular water makers. 10% discount for the first 10 buyers. Quote, Elcano World Challenge. Next week we'll have discussions with Julian about what goes into a quality water maker. I looked into this myself, and with cheap parts sourcing from all over the world, you can actually build one for yourself, especially for the capacity we need, for under $3,000. But from then on, I knew, because of where the parts were coming from, they'd always be suspect, and it's not something that I need for this journey. And especially we're going to have a lot more crew involved, and their safety is my concern. Actually, my safety is my concern too, because if it broke down like halfway across the Atlantic or the Pacific, we'd have some issues. You know, I'd be saying, okay, people, you've got 1 cup water and 2 cups urine. It's a nice cocktail. Probably get thrown overboard. So we can't have that. Yes, Sailing into Freedom has gone to another level, people. Just organising the very efficient crew here. This is just one of July's teams at Barson. There are many more in another shed 2 doors up and 2 more factories about 6 kilometres away. Dedicated workers of all talents. You guys are the best workers I have ever seen. Top stuff, well done. All right, everyone, smile.
1, 2, 3.
Mr. Trung here, he wants me to sign his book. Is that right? Yeah. So sometimes I don't understand. I drew some. Now don't go all politically correct on me, people, and think I've drawn sexist things here. Simply 4 boomerangs. Yes, that's right, from my country of origin, Australia. Oh no, I couldn't find a map of Australia with Tasmania. You know, down below. Hang on. That's better. Now, where was I? Oh, that's right, my explanation of 4 boomerangs. 1 boomerang, 2 boomerangs, 3 boomerangs. Oh, hang on. There we go. 4 boomerangs. That's right, 4 boomerangs on my signature. I know what you're thinking, people, and you'd be right. This plucky character, he's a sensitive guy, and he's trying to look after the more sensitive viewers watching my channel, because it might seem to some uneducated people that there are not 4 boomerangs on my signature, but something else. Guilty as charged, people. I'm that sensitive guy. All there are 4 boomerangs, and also a couple of pair of tits.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, I'm here with Mr. High. He said, Peter, we need to sort out where the electricals go. So we've got to go in the darkness. So we're working out the technical room. What do you reckon? Let me get a line on the subject.
And on the solar controller. And
people see you?
Yeah.
This is Mr. High. He and I get along great.
I'm happy to work with the Peter. Technical room in the starboard side.
Yeah.
And
what about the batteries? We're going to have a couple of batteries forward too, aren't we?
Yeah, 2 and 5 battery under the bed, and 2 of them under the sofa salon.
Okay.
This for the technical room, and on the switch, on the circuit breaker and the fuel and the solar controller, we place to very nice room here for the Peter.
Okay. Mr. High was telling me this is it's the smallest boat you've ever built.
Yeah, yes, it's small.
So apparently this is a small boat. What do you normally build?
Normally I build for 40-meter catamaran.
And that's the small one?
Yes, that's small one, and bigger than that.
100 meters?
100 meter.
Really?
For catamaran. They keep for the trucks and for the car inside, and also
like a ferry?
Yeah, ferry.
Fast
something
ferry.
like this. Very fast.
How fast do they go?
Yeah, around 20 knots.
20 knots?
Yeah, 20 knots.
Wow.
That's why.
Yeah, so apparently this is a small boat.
Very good thing for this option with the Peter.
We're trying to work out where to put the fridge and freezer.
Yeah.
I don't know
now
where to
we're
put it.
thinking how to.
We've done the electrics
for the fridge.
We've discussed we're gonna have the penetration for the cables on the outside, the solar, and then feed them in so we keep everything dry. What else? The fridge and freezer, we don't know what we're going to do with that.
Depending on the fridge you want to keep the size.
And also you got to remember, insulation for a fridge freezer has to be like this all around.
Yeah.
I mean, the more the better, because it's more efficient. And this is a new type of dinghy for some of the future Odyssey buyers. No more worries about concrete jetties, oysters, or sharp bits of coral on the beach.